Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Those who are here in the church, all and those who are watching from their homes, thank you for being here. And as we are going to start this presentation, I would like to start with a word of prayer. Dear Lord, you said in your word, in the Gospel of Matthew, with the big commission to go and teach all the nations, teaching them about your love, your commandments, making disciples. We are here, God, to share your work, the work that we have been doing in the land of yours, the land of Ethiopia, over the last 2 years. We pray that this word, this work will be heard and shared with so many people, those who are hearing right now, that it will help them to see the needs of people around the world, people around in Africa and elsewhere in the world. Thank you, Lord, for your word. Thank you for those who labor to make it known, to share your love, to share the gospel, to baptize and to make disciples. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for being here as we share this our work in Ethiopia over the last 2 years, teaching missionary work in the land of Ethiopia. This is the main points that we are going to see and, in about 25 minutes, and then I would like you to ask questions wherever you are. If you are at home, you can call the church phone. I have it here, and I will try to answer. So basically, we are going to talk about the missionary assignment, the partnership, the seminary, the seminarians, the courses in the curriculum, our missionary work, the language immersion, the cultural adaptation, social and political environments, and serving beyond the call and see the next stage. As we know, Ethiopian missionary activities over the last centuries have always resulted in conversions, resistances, and also compromises. Once again, Shalom. I'm Pastor Lumembo, and I'm here because I love to share with you and us the work that we've been doing to make Ethiopian mission successful. So I hope that you will enjoy this presentation. Let's talk first about our missionary assignment. I start with a saying which says, there is a huge illiteracy rate among the ONS, that is Onesimus Discipleship Seminary, where I've been teaching, students. For the majority of them, the Bible is still a strange book, and you will see the reason during this presentation why the Bible is still a strange book for them. Now, our missionary assignment consisted on the following. First of all, to teach theological courses. I was teaching 6 of them. To learn the local language, which is Afan Oromo, and to assist the ONS teaching staff, my colleagues who teach other courses. So I was assisting them in downloading courses and designing different curricula. Also assist the students with research and assignments, because I was living inside on the main campus, so it was easy for the students to come to my office and to get some help when needed. And also to preach and to hold workshops on theological topics. You may not know about that, but there are many what we call theological innovations in Africa. A lot of changes have been made because people want to adapt. One of the things is that what people learn in seminary is not exactly what they are going to practice in the field, and we'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes. Now, our partnership. How did we make this mission assignment successful? First of all, I have a list of 300 emails on my list, and I have also prayer and financial partners, and among them, the Church of St. Matthew is the main partner. Through the Church of St. Matthew donations, and we had the house, which we'll see in the pictures, repaired, and also the laptop, which we've been using since 2.5 years, and we need a new one, and also the impact of COVID-19 on some partners. So this is the partnership, which is very important, and this is why I'm here, to share with you all that I've been doing, because during the week coming, you'll get another e-newsletter. Now, let's talk a little bit about the seminary itself. Onesimus Nesip Seminary, that is the name, ONS, and it's located in Ira, in western Wollongong. Onesimus Nesip Seminary, in short ONS, opened its door in 1954. So it has trained up to date more than 6,000 church workers. When I talk about church workers, think about pastors, evangelists, Bible teachers, deaconesses, and so on and so forth. The seminary is located roughly around 600 kilometers from Addis Ababa, which is the capital city of Ethiopia. And it's a small city with 14,000 people. And most of them are Oromo, but we have also some other ethnic groups like the Gurage. Now this is a picture, the ONS. You can see there the main entrance. And the next picture is the library, the seminary library, which has around 5,000 books. I must stress that most of those books are old. And recently, while I was there, about 6 or 7 months ago, the seminary got some books from a church from the United States. You know, those books are books that they cannot use in the States. Obviously, they were not new books. And they got also some Bibles that churches are not being used when they change translations. So they got very nice Bibles. The Bibles were new, and that was from another church. Now, the library has some urgent needs. Most of the students, most of the time, they complain about the fact that when they got assignments, they go to the library. They cannot find anything because it's too old. So the library needs to train and to recruit professional librarians. Actually, there is just one, and it needs to be computerized and to obtain new books and new documents. It also needs some audio-visual collection, non-paper, based on information carriers, and also journals, theological journals. They don't have handy. So just to give you an idea, you see where Ira is located, and you see the map of Ethiopia, and where the seminary is located. Ethiopia also is a very religious country. This is me in Addis Ababa on the St. Michael's feast in Addis Ababa. I should stress that the main biggest Christian religion in Ethiopia is the Orthodox Theological Church. That's why you see all of this. It has been there for a couple of centuries. It's really the biggest Christian church. Here I have some of my students, a female student, and last week I did a presentation on the female students. As we see, not only in Ethiopia but elsewhere also, seminaries usually do not have a lot of female students. Like in Aira, since the 2 years I've been there, the female students are only 10 to 15%. That's really a minority group. We have also students during summer. What we call summer students are students who do not have time to attend the seminary during the course year. So every year, during the months of July and August, there are students who come to have like intensive theological courses. That's what they call summer students. And they will be trained. This is a class that I taught there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the seminarians themselves. So each year we have around 80 students that are being enrolled. So ONS is a small size seminary. It's between 80 to 100 or 120 students, not more than that, because they don't have a lot of facilities like dormitories, classrooms, and so on and so forth. And among them, as I was saying, maybe if we mix all the students, 20% are females. Then some of the students, they bring their kids. So you see some challenges, especially with female students, and we'll see that. Students at ONS were sent from 7 different synods, because the church, the Ethiopian evangelical Ethiopian mechanism is divided with several synods, and those students come from these synods. They come from Oromia, they come from Gambela, they come from the southern nations. And some the dormitories can accommodate only around roughly 40 male students and 15 female students. So just to tell you, like many other seminaries around the world, they are underfunded. So they need to get some funds to build new dormitories, new classrooms, and so on and so forth. Now, students have many challenges. Let me talk a little bit about some of the challenges that, first of all, the high level of Bible illiteracy. What do I mean by Bible illiteracy? Not only the students, but many Christians around the world, many Christians in North America, South America, Africa, are biblically illiterate. It means that although the Bible is the sacred book for Christians, but they don't read it. And I noticed that with my students. So you talk, when you are teaching, you are very concerned that the student should be able to learn at least the basics of Jesus' story, life and death of the New Testament. So most of the students, 98%, almost 99%, they have never read the New Testament entirely. The 27 books of the New Testament, let alone the Bible, right? So it is very, very difficult to teach when students don't have this. Although, as we know, these students have been in ministry for many years. So when they come to ONS, it's not that they are new to theology. They've been like pastors, they want to upgrade. They had only like a diploma, now they want more than that, a degree. And also, students have many challenges because of internet connectivity. And I can tell you, during the last 3 weeks, I've been trying to call Ethiopia. I wasn't able, my friends were not responding. It's only yesterday, for the first time in 3 weeks, that I got somebody that I spoke with in Aira. And then the online resources, because the electricity is not stable. They can have maybe once a week and so on. So students suffer because of that. So they have to take time during the daytime to read their courses, to do their homeworks and so on. And also poverty, poor level of English, the culture that does not value reading. So when I say that students are biblically illiterate, I was very concerned as a teacher, as a missionary, and I said, oh, let me ask the seminary director. And I asked her, I said, why is it they don't read? And she said, Pastor Lumembo, don't be surprised. It's not because they don't like to read, it's a culture. Because they don't even read other books. So don't think, let alone the Bible. And I was thinking about electricity, which is very infrequent. So these are some challenges, and my role as a teacher and missionary was to convince them that they are not wasting their time when they come to study theology. Here's the problem. Many students, they think that systematic theology, right, is merely a Western product, not suitable for other contexts. So they think that systematic theology is not relevant for African Christianity. Because some of the words that they use, they say, what are we going to do with that? And my students were telling me, you know what? We are here, we learn a lot of things. When we go back after 2-3 years to our congregations, the people over there, the main part, they say, forget about everything you have learned. You have to follow the rules here. So this is one of the challenges, the biggest challenge. So, also, I noticed that teaching theology from a Western perspective contributes immensely to the notion that theology is Western. It's not African. That's a big challenge. That's what we have to address. That it's relevant, you're not wasting your time and so on and so forth. Remember that all the books are in English. When people have a low level of English, even if they go to the library, they do not understand because they don't speak English every day. It's very, very difficult. So when I was teaching, I tried to use the common words that they can, and then translate as much as possible in a final room. Yeah, this is me writing on the board. We still use chalk and blackboard. It's not like here, where we use intelligent screen. Now, these are the courses that I've been teaching. New Testament survey, that the introduction to New Testament interpretation, the epistles. I was also teaching theological English, which is a very important course to allow the students to be able to read in English theological papers, to understand a lot of things. And I was also teaching theology of mission, because they wanted to know when missionaries come from abroad, what kind of theology are they using? How do they want to impact knowledge and so on? And also planting churches in folk Islam Ethiopian areas. There was an E missing there. And also introduction to philosophy of religion. These are basically the courses that I've been teaching over the last 2 years to roughly 70 students in both times. So I taught 2 semesters and 2 summer courses, almost the entire year. And this is my house. This is where I live, and it has been renovated, and it's there, and it's still waiting for me for us to go back again once the situation will be quiet. Now, when I was there, I didn't expect a lot of things. When I was living in, we were living with Agnes on September 1529, I thought that I was just going there to teach, but when I arrived there, I faced a lot of things. They asked me more than my call. So I was asked also to help the seminary to write founding proposals, because they have a lot of needs. Some of the founders that were before, they don't found the seminary anymore. And I became also advisor to the director, the ONS principal, and also assisting my colleague teachers who asked me, because I had some good books, good resources, helping any student. So it's not only the students that I had in my courses, it's any student would come. So I was quite busy all the time, days and night. Most of the time I was teaching in the morning and the afternoon. It's in my office until we have light. Because remember that in that area, since I was there for 2 years, there was a curfew, which means that you cannot go out after, let's say, 7 p.m. And when it's dark, you have to stay in your house. That's our living, during the last 2 years. And also the synod, which has a lot of congregations. They asked me also to hold workshops and also to preach in the local church. Now, something that I didn't expect, you see those two boys, there are so many, so this is like a legacy from missionaries when they came there. So every evening, I will see some poor boys in the neighborhood to come to assist. So I've instructed my helper to cook as much food as possible. So when those boys come, so they will get everything. They can get injera, they can get some, which is like Ethiopian bread, fruits, banana, they can get mangoes, oranges, anything. So they used to come up to 8, 9, or 10 every evening. And, I enjoy to share with those kids, so I didn't expect that. Now, let's talk a little bit about social and political environment. Everyone knows that since, I think, November, was it 2020, that there was a war that erupted in Ethiopia, in the region of Tigray. So we could see throughout all the year that the effects of war or conflict were even where I was living, because we see, I was living on campus, and every 2-3 days we will see soldiers coming into the campus. I'm talking about federal troops, just to keep the area safe and so on and so forth. And also the curfew and sporadic gunshots, especially during the last 6 months. There were so many. Sometimes it's just friendly. It's nothing. One soldier made a mistake while cleaning his weapon, and then it goes off. Yeah, it happens. But some other times it was, just when people come and say, oh no, they were, looking for the rebels, or as they call them, the guerrilla. And also the complaints of the students about the cost of living and food. Remember that because of the level of income, students are not able to eat anything they want. So throughout all the year, they don't eat meat. It's only injera and loja. Loja are kind of beans, that's what they eat. And I spoke with the principal, because students were coming to me and telling me about that. I said, no, this is not my duty, my responsibility, and you should just take it as it is. So when I spoke with the principal, she said, at least they have something to eat. So what they eat is because of the amount of money they're giving for food. And I didn't go there to feed everyone, so I couldn't do anything. And also the pandemic, the COVID-19 is largely ignored. I can tell you, since I went back to Ethiopia, I have never worn a mask, because in Aira, which is a small town, 14,000 people, they say there's never been a single case of COVID-19, so no reason. When I came back, I wore the mask the first day. Say, it will be ridicule. No one wears mask here. Take it off. Take it off. Especially the market and so on. So that's the situation there. And I came back September 5th. I had a test, COVID test, 19 in Addis Ababa. It was negative. When I reached Canada, September 5th, a second COVID-19 test, negative. At my house during the quarantine, a third test. So in 1 week, I had 3 tests, COVID-19, all negative. So just to show you that, well, I was safe there. There was nothing, no COVID-19. And as I said, I had to serve beyond my goal. These are some kids that were coming to my house because some of the friends and hospital workers there, the kids, they wanted to learn English. So I was teaching English from this is my house in the living room, because everyone wants their kids to speak good English. Also, some of the challenges there is water. We had a tank, but many times the tank was not working, so I had to send, to hire somebody to go and collect water and come to the house. This is sharing a meal in my house. You can see in the middle, Pastor Day was visiting, and at that time Agnes was still there. She only spent with me 3 months, and she had to come back because of her health was deteriorating, and so she had to leave. She spent only 100 days there, and people are still waiting for her. So we hope she comes back, because she left a good impact, especially with the kids and the female students. Now this is what Agnes started. This is her garden. So we planted a lot of vegetables there. What I did, there were so many. I remember Brother Geta was telling me that where you go, the soil is very fertile, and he was right. So we had a lot of vegetables, and I was sharing that with the students, with the neighbors. I planted chili and so on. This is Agnes planting there. Now, this is my house. I have an altar for personal devotion. You know, when you live by yourself most of the time, and because of COVID-19, I was advised not to go to church on Sunday, so I would just pray to my house and sing and so on. Yeah, that's one of the things I was doing there. This is Agnes when she was there, spending time with student kids, because those kids, they have nothing to do when their mothers are attending courses. So Agnes advised them to come and stay with her. There were 2, 3, up to 5 or 6, and they were very happy. So she was feeding them, playing with them, and so on. Now at the seminary also, in terms of spiritual life, they have a devotion every morning at 8, from 8 to 8:30 every morning, and it's very important. That's when we have a schedule, and I had to also sometimes, to preach during that time. Look at that. The seminary is located in a very beautiful surrounding area. So I took so many pictures with this, and I said, well, this is God's signature. So we have a lot of trees, a lot of things. We're surrounded by animals. hyenas, monkeys, especially those hyenas, monkeys, and so on. So life there was very well, but there are not too many things to do, but at night you have to stay inside because, you know, of the wild animals. But hyenas are not so dangerous, but don't bother to go outside. Now, what does Ethiopia mean to me now? So this is what I was inspired. I got after those 2 years. Ethiopia means to me, he entered God's mission with faith. When I left here to go to with Agnes to go there, I had faith because it's a call from God, and talk to the Lord every day. During all this time, despite everything that was going around, my strength was in the prayer, talking to the Lord in prayer every day, in the morning, in the evening, and sometimes, you know, during the night, because when you live in an area where there's a lot of bush, any small noise, even a dead leaf that falls on your roof, you hear it. You know, you are sometimes at night, they just woke up suddenly because a monkey has jumped on my roof. And also humble yourself before him. That's what I used to live in, humility. And I can tell you that I got some good advice. And once again, I had to quote Brother Geta, who is here, that when you go there, don't show yourself that you have more than the other people. So I was trying to live like them. Because one of the challenges missionaries have, and the students told me, is the fact that some Western missionaries had a very high life. Let me quote one thing that the seminarians say. They said to, it's very, very important. It's about the missionaries. What residential seminaries have succeeded in doing is reproducing in their students foreign ideas that do not fit the ministry context. The Western mode of residential institution has also resulted in a strict class distinction between the teacher and the student, master and disciples. There are many pastors, and this is very important, there are many pastors who live in a completely different, largely materialistic lifestyle, while their members are living in abject poverty. So when I was there, many students will come. I had like maybe 15 or 20 asking me to pay their school fees, to pay this, to pay that, and so on. I said, no, I myself to raise money for me to come here to teach, and then I have some responsibility in Canada. But they could not understand. You know, this is one of the things that when you go as a missionary to teach, try not to show that they think that you have a lot of monies, and it was so embarrassing that I avoid to go downtown area. You will see kids at the very beginning, when they see me walking, because this is a city you walk on foot. You don't need really transportation because everything is around. You know, the market is like 5 to 10 minutes from the seminary. So you see kids coming behind you whenever they see me. Instead of saying, good morning or hi, pastor, they just call me, money, money. And I had to learn now in a panorama to tell them that my name is not money. Okay? And this is one of the things that I had to face there. Okay, I'm running the time here. Very good. We're almost done. Now, I'm at the end. Yeah. So to support our ministry, so first of all, remember to hold us in prayer and to donate to Global Lutheran Outreach, and click on Give, or to the Church of St. Matthew, the St. Matthew Lutheran Church. You just write Lumembo Mission in the memo, or you can mail your checks to the Evangelical Lutheran Church of St. Matthew, 3159 Lawrence Avenue East, Scarborough. And thank you very much. Now if you have any questions, for those who are listening, watching from their homes, you can call. I have a phone here, and those who are here can ask questions. So we still have time. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Gate.
Your intention to return?
Yes, my intention is to return, but I made some exchanges with Pastor Dale and my friends there. So Glory is saying, wait a little bit, because we are very confused with what we are hearing. We don't like it to be a jeopardy. And I got the extension renewal from the seminary. They sent me the letter yesterday. So this will be sometime next year, maybe by January or February. But one of the things, because of the rules and changes, I have to be vaccinated, because you cannot go out of Canada without being vaccinated. So I need to take my vaccine as soon as possible. And from what I heard, it's like when you take the first dose, you have to wait another, is it 2 months? I'm not sure if 3 weeks or 2 months and so on. So that's it. But Pastor Dale said, wait a little bit.
Yeah, the wait is because of the civil unrest.
That's right, because of the civil unrest. And because I've been there, I know how communications work. As I was saying, I was trying to call my friend during the last 3 weeks. No one could respond. Only yesterday, after 3 weeks, that is like 21 days, I got somebody from Ira, a lady, and she said, we are fine here. There is nothing. That's what she told me. So, and yeah, so I have already my return ticket. So the ticket is there. I've asked Glo to postpone it, yeah, because I can postpone until 6 months. And so there are kind of two different news that we are hearing. From here in the West, we are hearing something. But those who are on the ground in Addis, we're hearing something very different. The Dean of Studies, Pastor Degefe Benti, he sent me an email from Addis. He said, Pastor Lumembo, I'm in Addis now for a couple of days. Everything is quiet here. Yeah, so that's the situation. Ken, you have a question?
Do you find that some of the different synods, some of the students from the different synods are accepted? Do you have a various number of them in your class you were teaching, or were they just some few of them?
You mean students?
Yeah.
In terms of what? In Bible literacy? Or? Well, generally speaking, the majority of students in the classroom are males, right? For example, during the summer for this year, July and August, there was not even one single female student. And those students usually were in the field already. I mean, there were many students, like half of the students, they are already pastors. They have already been ordained, but they came to ONS to upgrade, to study more and so on. And you have also some who are just evangelists, or they call themselves deaconesses, but it's not really, because in Ethiopia they don't train deacons, deaconesses. There are people where they call them deaconesses, but in any seminary, either in a Mekane Yesu seminary in Addis Ababa or in Ira, there is no deacon or a department that train them. But students, as I was saying, they have a big challenge, because especially with the younger generations, English is not their first language. Most of the time they speak their language of Oromo, and the courses are being taught in English for a reason. All the books that we have are in English, right? The dictionaries and so on and so forth. And it's kind of very difficult, especially when you teach. Whenever I was gave assignments, they will go and copy, things that they wrote and do not understand. So I had to change all my ways of, asking questions, and so it's my friends, my Ethiopian friends who teach. They have a huge task, because they speak the language, of course, so they are teaching in Afan Oromo and English at the same time, trying to, translate so people may understand. Yeah. Yes, Pastor Pile.
Yeah, I understand that you receive all kinds of students, like you said, some are already pastors. Now, I take it that you would also have guys who are coming with the hope of becoming pastors. What's the process? We understand how it works here with the call process and so forth. What's the process for those guys upon completion of their studies? What can they look forward to? How do they find themselves?
Yeah, that's a very good question. From what I know, those who, because all the students are being sent by one of the 7 synods. So for those who are not pastors before they come to study, they will be called by the congregations that sent them to be ordained and so on. And that's the process, because it takes like 3 to 4 years. But for those who have been already pastors, as I said, it's just to improve. When they have a degree, they hope to get another position in their parish. I had, for example, some students, they came there because they wanted to have a leadership role. They wanted to become leaders or director of a specific program, like outreach, program, church planting and so on. But those who are just evangelists and so on, they are not being called to be pastors. They will just remain evangelists, and eventually when they go back to their parishes, they will go there to train other people in the congregation, because I had a lot of interaction with the students. I did a lot of interviews during all these 2 years, and I'm writing a book. So one of the issues that they have, I think many churches in Africa, other parts of Africa have that, is what we call discipleship. Many people in churches, especially what we call African independent churches, they are unable to do what we call discipleship, to train people to be Christ witnesses, you know. And because of the what we call in theological jargon, we call it theological innovations. There are a lot of changes that are happening now in Christianity throughout all Africa. And students are wondering, what can we do about that? How should we address that issue? And so on. So the training at ONS does not necessarily address all those issues. And when I was advising the principal, I told her that we should invite people, and I am ready also to give some workshops and conferences. This is what I'm going to do actually also next year. It's very important because students may come there, study for 2-3 years, they go back and still have the same issues because nobody addressed them during the training. And because of also the culture, a lot of women, female students, are afraid to become pastors. So I can tell you that there are few female pastors in the EECMY, and those pastors, I spoke with some of them. As a matter of fact, I had like during the last 2 years, maybe 12 or female pastors. So one of the issues that they had, they said, yes, Pastor Lumembo, we have been ordained, we are pastors, but they barely give us leadership positions. So here's the question. One pastor asked me in our era, what do you think about ministry here, our pastors and so on? And I said, well, you should tell me, do you think that you have enough pastors? Because when I was going to attend Sunday services, these are big churches, big congregations, like the Lalo congregation has around 1,500 members. So on an ordinary Sunday, you have around 1,000. And in those 1,000, you can see pastors who are sitting, 10, 15, 20 pastors on a Sunday in the pews. And so I was wondering why we train people to become pastors. Does Ethiopia need pastors and so on? And I had two kinds of answers. This is very important that I let you know about that. They said, well, one pastor who happened to be a chaplain, he was the pastor at the hospital, he said, no, we have too many pastors. You don't need to train pastors. That was his view. And I asked him, other pastors, they said, yeah, we need pastors. Mechanized, we need pastors. We are not too many. It's only 9-10 million, and we don't have so many pastors. So why is it that so many pastors on Sunday, they don't do anything, they don't preach, they come just like any other people? And then I got the answer. They said, it's because many of the pastors that we train, they don't like to parish or to go as pastors in rural areas. They prefer big cities, they prefer town. That's why you have them here. Although they've been trained, they're not doing anything. They don't teach Bible study, they don't leadership, preach on Sundays and so on. It's really very sad. So this is one of the things that I would like to discuss and see if we can find a solution for these other pastors, and also like in the area where I was living in Iowa, they need to open new congregations, which we call church planting, and the synod president, he agreed with me. He said, "Yeah, you're right. We need to plant new churches because there are a lot of room, but we don't do that because many people have not been trained on church planting. Because church planting has two aspects. You can do church planting in areas where Christians are the majority. And you can do church planting, which is much more difficult, in areas where Muslims are the majority. And there it's very, very difficult. I don't know if I answered a question that's trying to see. But they are very careful before they ordain you or call you for evangelism and so on. It's not.
These people that are trained when they go to a parish, whether they're a pastor or a worker, they get a living wage as their.
Oh, that's a very good question. Yeah.
What about the pastors that don't preach?
Yeah, that's right. From what I understood, pastors who don't preach, they are just, for example, those who came to be trained, their synods, the congregations, they pay just for the school fees. They don't get a salary, just the school fees, that's it. And in parishes, congregations, they receive something, but it's very small. Because most of my students were pastors, they told me this. Because what we receive from the congregation is so small, we have to have like plantations. Coffee is one of the commodities. So they have to do something beside what they can receive from the church. Yeah, that's a big issue. So. Yeah. Brother Geta,
I think I'm with you with all the.
Okay, thank you.
Those pastors that you said were sitting in the pews like that one church, were they eventually are different ages, like whether it's young, middle-aged, and old, or how would you say they pretty much all around the same age?
That's a very good question, Ken. Here's the thing. In Missionary ACMY, you have a number of pastors who have been trained in the United States and also in Europe, because missionaries who helped to build like Iowa were coming from Northern Europe, like Sweden, Finland, and Norway, right? They have to build all these things. So you have in Missionary different pastors with different theological positions. For example, those who have been trained by LCMS, they stand with LCMS theology, for example, regarding women ordination. But those who have been in Norway, in Finland and so on, they have a position that is in favor of giving more leadership to women and also ordain women as pastors. So there is a conflict between pastors there, and you have more and more younger generations, right? Because remember that some pastors are being trained in Addis Ababa. That's where we have the biggest seminary, right? And Missionary Seminary. And those young pastors, they tend to adopt a theology that is different from a traditional Lutheran, right? For example, they are trying to introduce some of the things that they are seeing in Pentecostal and charismatic churches, such as, shouting during prayer. We don't do that in Lutheran Church. People will shout. Speaking in tongues, introducing healing ministry, introducing prophecy, and there is a conflict. So I spoke with some older pastors, and they were very sad, saying that these things are happening in front of our eyes, but our church in the headquarters in Addis Ababa does not like to address these issues. Maybe they are waiting when it will be too much and it will be too late. So it's good to address them now, because with my students, they ask me those questions when you teach New Testament interpretation and the epistle. One of the things that they asked me was about speaking in tongues, prophecy, healing, and so on. So what I did basically was to guide them, and that was it. So they did understand. So there is a difference between younger generations and also the older generations.
Very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, Ken. Thank you. Keith, thank you. Yeah, it's I think we're doing well. It's 1:26, and it's almost. Is there any question for? I don't know if there are people who are watching from outside. We didn't hear anything, but we have 3 minutes left, so I think we may end. And you can always. You can always ask me questions on Sunday.
Email.
Yeah, email your questions. Yes, you can email your questions. It's thank you so much for those who have been watching from outside. Thank you, Gita. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Pastor Pile. That was. I hope that was really good. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Thank you. Thank you very much.